here this afternoon with McAtee from Winfield United. Lee, you just got done talking to us about different fertilizer prices around in the U.S. and what's affecting them. What do you see as the biggest driver affecting the price of anhydrous today?
Probably the very biggest one, or the key point we see in that market, is really the U.S.'s capacity to export product into a global market. For the last couple of years, the FOBing capacity or export capacity is building out, and we see U.S. companies trying to expand on that even greater to shore up the demand and supply in the U.S. market.
Lee, same question around urea. What do you see as the biggest drivers affecting the price of urea, in the U.S. and globally today?
Well, this is a China story. We're really waiting on China to begin some type of an export program on urea. The government has stepped in. They're trying to hold that supply domestically and try to keep that price lower for the Chinese grower. Should they come into the market in the last half of the year and really start to export supply onto the market, that would be a bearish signal for the global urea market.
Lee, what do you see driving UAN prices as we think about winter fill and heading into the spring before demand really starts ramping back up?
The UAN is a really good affordability story. The prices that we're seeing in the market today really aren't that affordable for a product that you have to carry all the way to spring. And starting at such a high price point year over year, calculating the cost of money into that, and really we don't see much upside in that at all. It just doesn't make sense today to really get long UAN.
Lee, what do you see driving the prices of phosphates, in the U.S. and globally right now?
That's a production story in the U.S. We just see declining U.S. production over time, and that's probably not going to get any better as we go forward. The other part of this story is really the duties on phosphates coming to the U.S. market and how that impedes any kind of type of supply build in this local market.
And the declining production in U.S. phosphate, is this old mills? Is this environmental regulations? What's kind of having trends on lower production continue constantly?
Cost to mine and environmental regulations. Those are certainly the top two. It's very, very expensive to expand a rock phosphate mine today. It's a 10-year process, millions of dollars, and you're just not seeing any U.S. capacity to do that. And frankly, we just don't have that much rock phosphate in the U.S. anymore.
Lee, what do you see driving potash prices in the U.S. right now?
Well, right now they're pretty bearish, and that's just the global supply of potash is building. We're seeing new capacity coming online in places like Russia and Laos and other areas of the world. We're also seeing more export capacity coming out of Russia and Belarus. Sanctions on those countries have pushed them into a place where they have to find alternative ways to get to market, and they've done that in the last couple of years. And now the combined export capacity for those producers combined with the growing new production coming online is just putting more potash in the market today than we have demand.
We're getting ready to get closer to harvest and planning, and what do I do next? If I'm a grower, I'm looking at a substantially lower corn price today. What do you think I should be looking at? Fall fertilizer, spring fertilizer, a certain type? What should my target and game plan be?
Yeah, so the game plan to me on really is you have to tackle that nitrogen side first. And if you're an anhydrous user and a typical fall user, we think that makes very good sense today from an economic standpoint. Phosphates and potash, a little tougher conversation there with the price of phosphate being a little higher, price of potash being a little bit lower. I think those two probably balance out. But from a logistics standpoint and time that you've got really to do anything spring, probably still makes sense to go ahead and apply those products this fall.
And if I am more of a UAN user versus call it a dry or gas, what do you think they're heading into the, planning for spring?
Yeah, I think you wait. I think you wait for on UAN prices. We think those are probably a touch on the high side right now. I think we'd recommend that you wait and watch that very closely, and probably look at that more after harvest, going into that prepay time in December.